Hello everyone, this is Chris, owner of Pick Your Battles Games and creator of SLASH-ACCRE, which is a 1980s slasher movie based miniature board game. I'm here at Midgard Comics in Derry, New Hampshire, and today I'm going to be showing you how to assemble the MDF laser cut scenery that comes with the SLASH-ACCRE core set. This is the bundle that you get. It contains 7 MDF laser cut sheets that contain all of the parts you need to assemble the cabins and locations in the game. So let's start by taking a look at the standard cabin. There are 2 of these that come with the game. They're going to be identical. Now the cabins should pretty much slide and or snap together, but I still like to use a glue and a zip kicker. If you've never used a zip kicker before, it's basically just an accelerant that makes the glue harden quicker. So, as you can tell, the sprue is so well cut that the pieces are falling right off of it. In fact, don't be surprised if there are loose pieces in your game. If not, they pop right out, although be careful not to break these little tabs in the side. They are essential for the actual assembly. So go ahead and pop the windows out. They should come out pretty quickly, although this is harder to do with one hand, as I'm sure you can tell. So there's the front face of the cabin. This right here is a porch. There are little pieces in there you have to get out as well. Here is the base and, of course, the walls. Now, once again, those little slots that are there are very important, so try to push straight back because you don't want to break that off. So, I'm very careful here. As you can tell, it came right off. It actually is cut pretty cleanly, even if it takes a little bit of firm pressure, but just make sure that you don't break those tabs. Although, if you do for some reason, just email me at pickyourbattlesgames@hotmail.com and I'll replace them for you. So we're going to go ahead and pop the remaining pieces of the window out. Now, as I mentioned before, it is possible that some of these pieces are going to be loose within the box or the wrapper, but hold on to the frame like this. That way you can match them up if you need to. So what we're going to do is we're going to take these 2 pieces. You see how they have opposite slots on the top and bottom, and they're just really going to slide into each other. So what you're going to do is you're going to put it at a 90-degree angle, slide the 2 pieces into each other, and push down firmly. Now, it will be pretty tight, but that's okay. You want it to be. Just don't force it too much. As you can see, that went in pretty easily. We're going to do the same thing with this side of the cabin. Just a little bit of pressure, and there we go. Take the back piece, line it up with the slots on either side of the walls, and work that in there. Little bit of pressure, and there you go. So that went together pretty easily. We're now going to take the base and we're going to line up the slots that are up here on the top, the bottom, and the corners. If you take a look at the front of the piece, you'll notice that there is a little area that is sort of like a deck or like a porch. That's going to go in the front, so in front of the door. Line up the tabs and push down. And then finally, we're going to take the railing, which, as you can tell, still has some of these little pieces in here. You just want to get clear of as many of those as you can, maybe with a toothpick or an X-Acto knife. And then when you have it where you like it, line it up with the holes that are in the front of the porch. Those will pop right in, and they should be pretty tight. There we are. And that's it. That's the first cabin. And I'm going to go ahead and put some glue on the joints here to keep it from falling apart, and we'll move on to the next one. So the next type of cabin that we're going to look at is the dining hall. As you can tell, there are a couple of pieces on here that weren't on the standard cabin, but we'll look at those in a moment. So, once again, as you can tell, some of the pieces popping right off. This piece over here on the side is sort of a part of the porch. That's one of the unique pieces. Just take the middle piece out, and we'll get everything off the frame here, and then I'll show you the assembly. So once again, As you can tell, you have to be very careful around those tabs. Now, as you can tell, I am having a little bit more trouble working the windows out of these ones. They require a little bit more care because this particular piece was not cut quite as cleanly by the laser cutter. I do produce this game entirely by myself at this point. And while I do have a commercial laser cutter, not every piece is cut quite as cleanly as every other one, so some of these you sort of just have to work out carefully. It does bear mentioning that if you do have a problem with the actual pieces, if something snaps when you're taking it off the frame, or if even if it just breaks because you were trying to work them together and it was too tight and you pushed it too hard or something, don't worry, just send me an email at pickyourbattles@hotmail.com and I will get the piece replaced for you. That being said, we're going to continue to assemble this here. As you can tell, not all of the windows here were completely punched out. So just go ahead and get that cleaned up here. There we are. And just like with every other piece, they slide right into each other. You just want to be careful with this last piece that it goes in straight and sort of at the same time on both sides so that it doesn't go at a sharp angle and potentially break. So now we're just going to snap into the base as we have every other time. Now I want to point out that in this particular piece, the porch is on the front here. Now one of the things that I sort of tried to do with these cabins is to make sure that they were all a little bit different. Some of them the porch will be in the front like the regular cabins. Some of them don't have a porch, so they're bigger on the inside. These ones are, the porch is on the front. So we're going to take these porch pieces here, and that tab is going to plug right into the slot on the porch frame here. This little piece out, and that actually fits nice and tight. So what we're going to do is we're going to line it up. There are holes right at the top here as well as on the bottom, and they line up perfectly with the pegs that are at the bottom of this half of the porch. So we're just going to line those up and pop those in. It's really a nice snug fit. Push down on this side. And then line up the top bit here. Do the same thing on the other side, and there you go. So I'm just going to put some glue at the bottom here, as I did with the others, and then we're all set. That's the dining hall. Now it's time to move on to the utility cabin. Utility cabin is very much like the other cabins we put together. There's no porch or small pieces that we have to worry about. So we're going to pop these out. One piece I would like to mention is the front piece here. This bit at the bottom actually comes off because there's a sort of a garage door here that's a little bit open at the bottom. So that's a little bit different. This one I think we're going to assemble a little bit differently from the way that we've assembled the other ones, just to kind of show you an alternate way to do it. So I have the base here, and we're going to actually plug this directly into the base rather than assembling the walls first and then trying to snap them on all together. I'm not saying one way is better than the other, it's just you could do it either way, so I thought I'd just kind of show you an alternate way to do it here. So with those two walls in, I'm just going to line up the tabs on the sort of the side here. And again, it's a nice snug fit. Grab the bottom of the base and pull down. With even pressure on both sides, it should fall right into place, just like that. Make sure these tabs are securely in. I'm going to pop out the window pieces here that I forgot to do earlier. And slide this one on as well. Push down. It feels nice and tight because all the pieces sort of have tension on each other. And there we go. That was pretty easy, the utility cabin. So finally we have the showers. The showers is just like any of the other pieces we've already put together. At this point it should be obvious how this is going to go together. So we're going to skip ahead a little bit. One thing I want to point out, while I was putting together this piece, as you can tell, there's a little bit that broke off of the frame. You just want to be extremely careful when getting those out. because, again, if you kind of support the back of that peg while you push through, there's less of a chance of it snapping. So now that we have that cleaned up, we're going to go ahead and, see, it's on this side as well. Again, notice that my index finger is kind of supporting the back of that other piece while I push out the kind of broken bit with my thumb. And then it still comes right out. Again, the laser cutting on these is usually well enough that they'll pop right out, but if they're not, just be careful. And we'll go ahead and slide that right into this piece. You'll notice how quickly these are going together now that we've done a few of them. They all sort of put together with the same sort of general construction, so by the time you get to the last cabin, you'll be pretty much a pro at it. Now, once again, we're just going to snap these into the bottom here. I'll, of course, follow this up off camera with a little bit of glue, just sort of to make sure it doesn't fall apart. And there you go. There's the shower cabin. So there you have it. Those are the 6 cabins that come with the SLASH-ACCRE core set. We do have 3 more pieces to assemble, but they are a little bit more complicated, so I think we'll do those in part 2.